On our left bar, we have some presets that help us to create fast terrain. So sometimes if I want to create iceberg, I don't want to go to my brush tools and do this. I just want to sometimes create a basic set for me so I can go from this point. And right below these elements, it's what we can create. We skip those ones, reset materials to the sculptings. They will be enabled when we start to create 3D sculptings and work with procedural terrain. So for now, let's look what we have below this. We have 0 edges, and you can see it's kind of mountains and going to 0. So if we disable, now we'll have it all of this fractal. So it's take size fractal, kind of cut off. Many times, sometimes you may use this if you have it river going and you want to put it no edges, but by default, it will go look like a mountains with a taking and bring down these edges to the 0. So below right here, this is a different type of the presets for our terrain. So the first basic and mountain. And again, you can click over and over to create a different type of mountain. Next, we have it peaks. And this one I like actually quite a bit, this fractal, what is using. And we can use right here on a graph. You can see what fractal we're using for this preset. So for the mountain, it's just what we had before. For the young mountain, you can see it's using a little bit different purling kind of algorithm. And I do like how it's come up with mountains. This is most common fractals that I'm using when I'm creating terrains. Next, we also have collection of different mountains, and if we click open, you can see right here we have mountains, old mountains, scattered rocks, generic rivers. So let's go ahead and click on the mountains. Okay, let's take a second to recreate. This is a little bit more complex algorithms that was introducing in a Vue, but they also provide quite a bit nice effect, a more realistic type of the terrains. And you can see it's created nice. One thing to understand also, this effect they can stackable, so it is will replace functions that you're using, but the reference original still be there. So if we open function editor, okay, let's go just to edit function. We don't necessarily need to go edit the right here, but you can see how it's creating. So it's going from positions and add all these different elements to access this. Okay, let me just reduce a little bit the resolution so we have it faster access. And let's go check now old mountains. Notice it will take time to render. So this is what's happening with some of these new elements, because they all look very realistic, but due to that realism, it's come up with more complex calculations, and it's take a little bit time to do that. Okay, so right here we have our one mountains. We're going to, let's try scatter rocks. Okay, so let's put them around, and sometimes if you want it, you can reset just your terrain to the basics, so it will help preview. Okay, and we'll next go, we have it also generic, we have it rivers, we have it gorgeous, and all this different style and type of the terrains. Okay, and for example, a river is not necessarily look good on this, but it's try to apply erosion to this. To work with river, let's do this way. Let's, for example, we reset our terrains, we'll remove all edges from here. Okay, we'll go to the paint tool, select 3D paint, I want invert, and I'm just going, okay, let's increase flow just a little bit faster. So right here we'll go just create path for our river. We don't use its spline, we can use its splines for this, but I want just to use my terrain editor tool. Just kind of almost like eating inside. Right here our terrain going, river will go through our terrain. Okay, we can adjust slightly elements, but even this, okay, our path is set, and now we can go inside and let's click on the rivers. So it takes a few seconds to process this new additions. And you can see when it's done, we have a nice apply erosions on the lower level. So we have it almost like water falling, pulling towards our river. Okay, so this is our river. We can go also create all these gorges, and we can create erosion, very eroded elements. Okay, right here. And overall, we have additional the channels first. So it's all different type of erosion. We can go from the mountains and down to more erosions applied to our terrains. Okay, next one we have these plateaus. So we click canyons or plateaus. You can take a second to generating, and you can see it's add right here kind of like steps almost to our terrain. If you want more of those steps, we need increased resolution, and here's kind of things. So let's reduce, let's create mountain, and as example it's 256. So if I'm going to create plateaus on this one, you can see we have kind of create more. If we increase our resolution, for example in this case we increase to okay, let me kind of stretch this. Okay, and we apply same effect. Notice what will change. It will apply the effect based on resolution, so it will add more details. However, if I apply this effect before that, it won't have some of the small details. So be sure you'll set your resolution of your terrain first, and after we'll start apply effects to your terrain. Okay, let me go back on this one. Okay, next we'll have modes, dunes. Okay, creating. Again, let's go increase a little bit resolution. And if we apply dunes right now, so you'll see we have a little bit more on this effect. Okay, we also have it iceberg. Okay, and notice the iceberg applied to the kind of dunes effect. So it's meaning we can stack all of those terrains effect. We can stack them together. Okay, we can have it a lunar, which will create craters on the places. And actually, this one maybe we can go reset. So let's go to reset our terrain. Okay, let's just make it smaller so it will be go faster. Work fast. Okay, reset terrains. Make craters, and you can see it's kind of create like those craters around moon. And other ones is kind of very useful, and I used all the time. It is when you can use the pictures to load it as your terrain shape. For example, if you have it DM data, you want, or you created something in Photoshop or other render, like for example if you create a world machine, you can use it here. So let's go click, and you can see right here we have it import terrain data as a picture. So let's go open one. Okay, and you'll notice I have it some already from world machine, so I'll just select one. This is blending mode. Many times if I don't want to use anything background, I just want image, so I'll go 100% to my picture, and you can see it's applied. One thing I do recommend, be sure your resolution of your terrain list same as your image, because that way you get the best benefits. Otherwise it does not look as sharp. So for example, this is, I know it's I think 2000 by something, and you can see we don't have that much details passing from the image. So if I'm going and double resolution to 2000, so it still look ugly, because this point we actually want to import again the image, because it does not take all of that resolution. You can see we does have a little bit details, but the resolution is not yet there. So we're going back and we'll select a same image. Okay, 100% right here, and let's go click OK. And you'll notice that resolution has become much better, because it does not interpolate, it does not edit, it will use those image shapes and to create. So right here it's much sharper, more detailed with our image. Again, this is a powerful addition to the high field versus fractal terrains. However, with the procedures of fractal procedures terrain, you can still use the image as your base if you need it, but you need to go inside function editor. So just as test, let's go look what's happening here, and you'll notice that right here we have our craters that we used before. Okay, let's just spread a little bit more and see how it's stuck. So even we don't use it craters, they still be here in our function. Okay, we'll have it our advanced turbulence. We have it all these peaks that we added, so you can see how they're all functions stacking together. We have it blender, and we have it our texture editor. So our blender is 100%. So if we take and remove any of these ones, they're not really necessary for us because we have our combiner here. Okay, we can remove actually all of that. Okay. Altitude, we almost can go take this one, bring directly to altitude. Okay, actually from altitude to here. Okay, delete this one. You can see we remove everything from there, just one. We'll go back, click OK, and it's same, we'll have it just the terrain for us. Okay, and terrain right here, just drop down. Okay, let's go back, edit our object. So overall, here's the kind of options. We also have additional back splines if we have it effective high field. We'll look when we start work with the splines a little bit more. But overall, if you remember, we can draw the areas as effect as a river. In this case, we can bake it into our terrain. So when we're exporting, we will have this effect of the spline on our terrain. So let's go look on those properties in next tutorial on graph panes and effects here.